Hi, my name is Mhiko I, and I'm here to study a case between um, BF Metal Corporation and Rico Umayon and spouses Lumotan, which are Rolando and Linifer Lumotan. So, overview of the case. In May 3rd, 1989, owner type Jeep driven by Rico Umayon was cruising in the Felix Avenue in Rizal, and then all of a sudden, on the opposite lane, a 10-wheeler truck driven by Onofre Rivera was jammed into the jeep, um, and the jeep was wrecked. Umayon was hospitalized for 19 days with fractured scapula, and so it's that the owner of the jeep, which were the spouses Lumotan and Umayon, filed an independent case towards the BF Metal Corporation, which was the employer of Rivera, for uh, for damages for damages. So they filed the case in the regional trial court in Cainta, Rizal, and the regional trial court um, found Rivera guilty for reckless imprudence causing to physical injuries, and so they judged that the actual damages paid should be 130,655 pesos for the owner repair of the owner type, and 10,000 for medical expenses, 2,850 for medical treatment, 100,000 for moral damages, 100,000 for exemplary damages, and 25,000 for attorney's fees. So, because of that, the petitioner BF Metal Corporation didn't like the final verdict of the RTC, so they moved into the Supreme Court. So in the Supreme Court, they filed evidences, five of them. So first, they denied that Rivera was reckless, and they blamed the vehicular incident towards Umayan for being reckless. So, palitin sila. Ang sinisi naman ngayon si Umayan. Second, they presented Rivera in the hearing, and Habner Barres, the superintendent of BF Metal Corporation, he's the boss of Rivera, and they showed that older drivers and vehicles are under safety driving rules. So safe for driving sila, both the vehicles and the drivers. Showed it. The third is they argued three. First, whether the actual damages should be 130,655. They argued that one. They think it's too much. Second, whether spouses Lumotan are needed to pay for moral damages. They don't want to pay moral damages for Lumotans. Third is they should not pay for the attorney's fee too. So, and the fourth one should they said that 130,655 for costly repairing the owner jeep is should not be paid. And they said that the amount they pay should be the actual fee of the purchase of the jeep minus the 1 year depreciation plus 10% of the original price. That should they be paid. And so the last part, the fifth evidence is they said that the moral damages should only to be Umayon and not to the spouses. That the spouses Lumotan were not injured or any cause of the incident. They just the owner, they were not there in the incident. And so the respondents also they presented their own evidences. The first is they denied that it was mine. They said it was Rivera's fault for that incident because he were not adhering to the traffic rules. The second is they testified with Umayon and the first two police officers that first responded in the incident, and the owner of the the owner of the repair shop that they went to repair the jeep, which was Fajardo. And in there, Fajardo explained that the labor cost for repairing the jeep was 95,000, and with buying the new materials for the jeep, it totaled into 130,655. And they also presented the decision of the regional trial court in Cainta, showing that Rivera is guilty for reckless imprudence resulting to multiple injuries. The last part is they presented the cost or the receipt of the total cost of the jeep from 96,000 labor cost and to the 135,000 pesos of total cost and repair overall the jeep. And so the court decided. So first they decided that the 100,000 moral damages should only be given to those victims that died. And since Umayon did not die, he was only granted 30,000 pesos moral damages. And they also acknowledged that Umayon was hurt, he was injured. And they also acknowledged that Rivera is guilty of the charges for reckless imprudence. And the third is they acknowledge that the spousal removal should not be given the moral damages 100,000, that they're excluded in that, only Umayon. And they also argued that they deserve the compulsory damages, which was 100,000 pesos. And they also acknowledged the petitioner should pay also 25,000 pesos for the attorney's fee. And so, therefore, the petition for certification is partially granted. So they partially granted the modification, and these are that follows. So the actual damages from 135,655 pesos of costly repair in the jeep, they toned it down they reduced it into 72,000 pesos only. And from 100,000 pesos of moral damages owed to Umayon, it was then reduced to 30,000 pesos only, and only paid to Umayon. And so they also rectified that the petitioner should pay 6% per annum in the RTC since 1997, 21 April 1997 of the RTC, since they did that in the regional trial court in Cainta Antipolo, branch 72, and also 12% per annum towards the Supreme Court for until the finality of the decision, until the cause is full satisfied. And that is the decision of the Supreme Court. So just get back together. The actual damages was reduced into 70,000 pesos only. The moral damages then reduced into 30,000 pesos only, and only towards Umayon. But the sponsors of Motan should acquire 100,000 pesos for compulsory damages, and then the attorney's fee should be paid for 25,000 pesos. So that is the final verdict, the judges, and thank you for listening.